When you say that the main reason for the US attack was oil, that's an example of oversimplified reasoning. Our brains prefer a simple explanation over a complex truth. Now, oil is still part of the equation, and Trump himself said that it was important to him, but Venezuela doesn't have the infrastructure to fully exploit its reserves, and industry experts say it would take a decade to build it and cost up to $100 billion. And companies will only invest if they have 100% confidence that Venezuela will remain stable. And right now, we don't even know who's in charge of the country. Now, the main thing that people ignore is that the leading force behind US strategy isn't Trump, it's Marco Rubio. He's the US Secretary of State and one of the most senior figures in the Trump administration. Rubio is the son of Cuban immigrants who fled Cuba's dictatorship. For Rubio, Venezuela is personal and ideological. Back in 2014, almost 12 years ago, Rubio was already calling for sanctions on Maduro's regime. Then in 2019, Rubio pushed Trump to recognize Maduro's political opponent as the legitimate president. That was 7 years ago, and Trump did it, and Maduro cut diplomatic relations with the US. So Rubio genuinely believes in regime change and democracy in Venezuela. Even Maduro himself said that Rubio was the driving force behind US policy on Venezuela. Now, the problem was that Trump ran on the America First platform. How do you justify regime change as America First? And that's when Rubio changed his approach. He stopped talking about democracy and reframed the issue. He positioned Maduro as the ultimate source of drugs, crime, and illegal migration because he knew that's what would get Trump on board and secure public support. But what does Trump want? He wants to be popular, to remain in power. And his popular issues are drugs and crime. So Trump painted Venezuela as the war on drugs, and his public messaging was very smart. He consistently mentioned Maduro, Venezuela, drugs, and crime in the same sentences. Now, I know you're going to say that Trump doesn't actually care about drugs, and not that many drugs come from Venezuela anyway, and you are right, but it doesn't really matter. If you read in the news that there is a lot of drugs, you're going to believe there is a lot of drugs. And if you constantly read that Trump is bombing boats full of drugs from Venezuela, you're going to believe that Venezuela is the problem and now Trump fixed it for you. Again, for Trump, the biggest priority isn't oil in isolation, it's his popularity. And that's the case for any democratic leader because they need to be popular to remain in power.